City Hall. They're gonna move some people here. No, everything's fine. Everything's moving. Occupied. Are you? Okay. What's your name?
I'm Tom Mann. I'm a citizen of this province.
Doesn't this give you some memories?
Oh, it sure does. You know, this is a story of New Brunswickers, Canadians, North Americans all across the globe standing up and saying, you know, we don't like what's going on, and wanting to raise awareness for other people that, you know, there's some very serious problems within our economic system.
What a big difference between NB Power protest and this, huh?
Oh, it is a big difference. This is a different kind of protest. It's a public awareness raising campaign. I think a lot of New Brunswickers, Canadians, North Americans, you know, have blocked out the true causes of the gross inequalities that we have in our communities now, and we've seen that the occupation movement, you know, started with a handful of people, 6 people, very committed, and it's grown. I mean, this is significant. And you know what has happened in Europe and in northern Africa this year, in Egypt. We've seen it in Greece, in Italy. People are starting to say we've had enough.
I showed up here last night. You were here last night.
Yep.
I showed up afterward. And it was nice to see there was about 10 protesters surrounded with a kerosene heater. They were happy. They had heat. They were hitting the drums and talking about issues. I mean, that was good what the union did.
Yeah, there's some basic needs that we have in our communities,
and this is Canada, right? It's cold.
Yeah, this is Canada, and you know, we deserve more. There's no shortage of money in this. There's no shortage of money in this country. There's no shortage of money in this province. It's poorly distributed, and what we're seeing is that there's a higher concentration of the wealth and the money in our world in the hands of a very few, and the people at the other end, and it's a large number. I mean, it's 99% of us that are otherwise having to pay for the gross richness of a few.
And the union made a donation to in Halifax.
Yeah.
They gave what, $4,000 or $5,000 to help them winterize the tent and all that. So the union, why the union getting involved in this?
Well, the issues are everybody's issues. The issues, they're not union issues, they're not environmental issues, they're not poverty issues, they're everybody's issues. You know, I challenge that even Andrew Oland and Jim Irving, they should be down here, because you know are they the 99%? No, I think they're in the 99% in the big picture. You know, one of the things that we've discovered is that here in this province, and the Minister of Finance has said this publicly, that companies in New Brunswick cannot get a loan from any bank in Canada unless you and I, as taxpayers, guarantee that loan. So that means the big industrial giants in this province are subject to the banks. And I know that as companies need to reinvigorate and to provide economic growth for this province, they can't turn to the banking system, because the banking system then says you have to go back to the taxpayers. And to me, Charles, that is the epitome of this insidious circle that we have, where it's the taxpayers and those at the lower end of the economic spectrum that are being asked to pay. So, you know, the fact is that for the Business Council of New Brunswick, they don't have bankers on their table, around their table. They're not members of that. Why aren't they down here? Why aren't they here saying, you know, there is something very, very wrong with the big picture?
They should be here, because then this protest, they're talking. They're not shouting noise or making trouble. They're talking. That's what this is all about, talking, right?
You know, this reminds me of the movements that we watch in Hollywood movies about Gandhi. You know, they're peaceful, and we got to be very careful that forces don't make them unpeaceful. And you know, that will be certainly a challenge.
That's well said. So what do you think about the union and all that? Who are you again?
I'm Allie Don.
So what do you think about all this?
I think it's amazing. I'm so glad that we have a lot more support than we did before, and it's support that I think is It's a little delayed. Like, I was hoping this kind of support would have it earlier on, but to have it now, I think it's amazing.
So the support is getting stronger and stronger.
It is, yes.
It's getting colder and colder, but
Yep.
the support is getting stronger also.
Exactly. Which is awesome, because then it goes to show that we have the strength and the support to go through.
And you had a heater last night.
Oh my God, it was amazing. I loved it.
I seen that.
Yeah.
Everybody playing the drum around. Everybody was happy.
Yeah.
Charles, what Ali's talking about, we refer to it as strength, and that's really a harsh word in my view, because what we're showing is cooperation. And right from the very beginning of time, humans cooperated with one another. I think what we've seen in the last 30 years is that we don't cooperate. No. What we have in common we sort of take for granted, but we want to emphasize what our differences are. And we don't have the luxury in this province or in this country or in this continent to not cooperate with people who come from different backgrounds. And that is that's why I call out to the Andrew Olins and the Jim Irvings and the McCains and the Francis McGuires and the Norm Caseys
and the Frank McKennas
and the Frank McKennas. These Frank's tied up at the banks right now. but the point is that cooperation is a basic human trait that we have, and we've gotten so far away from that. And one of the things that we're able to do is we have to be able to show good moral judgment. We have to be able to recognize people with and have compassion for one another. And I think that's what is the underlying value of a movement like Occupy Fredericton.
You know what? That's so well said. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.